Do you see hope for us?
I do, because I think, first of all, it's a duty to be hopeful, because once you stop being hopeful, you stop doing the bit that you can, and we can never know for certain what the future will hold. So it's both morally bad and intellectually wrong to stop doing the bit that we can do. And I'm hopeful because there must have been a number of places in the past when people must have thought, well, that's the end of that. But it actually wasn't, although there have been long periods of decline, up to 1,000 years before another civilization sprang forth. But perhaps not having a civilization, it will be an enormously painful business, the collapse of it, but the bringing to bear of real necessities, that you actually have to cooperate with other people, that you have to be in small groups that are prepared to trust one another, that you live close to the land, you have few demands on nature, but the demands that are necessary for life, rather than the rather absurd demands we make on nature, that it will supply our every fantasy through industrial mechanisms extracting materials from nature. So I'm hopeful in that sense. I'm also pessimistic, and I call myself the hopeful pessimist, in that I think, as I explain, I do have hope because I can't know, but I'm a bit pessimistic when I look at the way things are going now. One very big reason for being hopeful is that a lot of young people are responding to the voice of people, including myself in a very small way, who's saying there's something wrong with the way we're doing things. And I'm pleased about that. When I go to speak in places, I generally find that I get a lot of interest and a lot of warmth, really, from young people in the audience, as well as people of my age and generation. So I know that there is a thirst out there for people to hear something different from the thin gruel, both morally and intellectually and emotionally, that they've been fed by the debased view, which is an amalgam of half-understood popular science, the sort of left liberal nonsense that's so fashionable in the media. And it really has taken away from our sense that we should value one another and value life above all things. Well, not above all things, perhaps above all things, but not above everything.
and so that's what a balanced civilization would be like. It would be that we value one another, that we don't build these edifices of isms, and that we don't become excessively, we're no longer excessively bureaucratic as well.
Yeah. Well, a small community couldn't possibly either generate or support such isms. They're a typical product of a bureaucratic way of thinking. It's an abstracted, schematic way of thinking about life, which is far from any kind of nuanced reality. So these things, yes, I think a good civilization, and certainly perhaps I'm beginning to back off from the word civilization, because although it is capable of wonderful things, perhaps being content with stable societies that were civilized in their behavior, if not creating huge edifices, would be a very good outcome. And it may have to be an intermediary stage between anything we can salvage from our self-destruction. I mean, we're simply committing suicide at the moment. If we can halt this process and salvage something, then I think it will have to be, whatever we can will have to be regenerated organically through the growth of small communities that are willing to hang together and hold together, and to have relatively modest demands and re-experience and relearn some kind of, basic truths. I hate to say this, but some kind of decent moral values that have been replaced by legalistic principles of things you can do and can't do. That's not the same as moral courage, moral fibre, moral
No.
insight, moral empathy.